Hello and welcome to Boomer Live. We are back. As we all know, we are here to talk about the fantasy predictions. Last night we did have some predictions going, and it some went in our favor, some did not. So today we are here to talk about the big blockbuster game. It is India versus Pakistan tomorrow, and we are a few hours away from it. I guess 12 hours away from the mega contest. And now we are here to talk about the best possible 11 for you to win your fantasy contest. We're going to break it down using data and why you should be picking up the 11. We're going to give you some suggestions, the probable fantasy 11 who can fit you a lot of points as well. So I have Sandeepani and Jaren with me. How did your day go in the fantasy segment, Sandeepani?
I think it was a good day. The team that we had given for Boomer, I think the captain and vice captain did not come good for us. Other than that, I think uh, almost all the players contributed in some way or the other. We got some points from either the batting department or the bowling or in the field. There were some spectacular catches taken in both the games. I think the England versus Afghanistan game was great for us in terms of fantasy. But the Australia versus New Zealand game, obviously, the result was not what we expected. We expected Australia to dominate, but it was New Zealand who actually came out on top and dominated the game. So yeah, scope of improvement. But these are the first games. In the first games of every team, there will be some sort of miscalculation and errors. But that is why it is very important to check your teams once the toss is done, because the lineups will be announced, and if you have any players that are not in the playing 11, you can go there and change it. And that is very important because we can't actually predict with 100% certainty the first game of any team, because that becomes very unpredictable. Because right now we don't actually know whether Shami, Harshal Patel, or Arshdeep Singh, which two of these three will play, or who among Ashwin or Chahal will play. So we might give you a team. There might be some changes after the toss is done and the lineups are announced. So it is important that you stay tuned once you make the teams, and you can go and update your teams and make the necessary changes.
Yeah, absolutely. So without further ado, let's get the lineup on the screen. Let's get the lineup so that we can also talk about the ground conditions and the toss factor and everything else. So this is a lineup which we have chosen for tomorrow's contest. We have Virat Kohli and Babar Azam in our team as a batting picks. Mohammad Rizwan is the sole wicket keeping choice in the fantasy 11. Surya Kumar Yadav on form alongside KL Rahul on form. The two all-rounders we have gone from Pakistan are Shadab and Nawaz. They've been enjoying a good time when it comes to both the facets with ball and with the bat. Hardik Pandya, you saw it in the Asia Cup as well. On his day, he can turn the match around. He can be an X factor pick in the lineup. Then you have Bhuvaneshwar Kumar from the bowling pick, Haris Rauf and Mohammad Shami. We've gone with a 6-5 pick. Your thoughts, Sandipani, because especially, and I'll come to Jaren now. Jaren, your thoughts on this team because we have seen it with this India Pakistan contest. Virat Kohli has got a terrific record when it comes to his batting exploits. And alongside Virat Kohli, another player who's got a very good record is also Mohammad Rizwan has enjoyed some success against India in the recent past, where he has taken Indian bowlers on. He's been able to be very consistent with his bat. As we always speak, fantasy is all about volume of runs. It might not be the most amazing strike rates as such, but then his impact has been very certain.
Absolutely, and Virat Kohli, I think he's been owning Pakistani bowlers for quite some time in this fixture, regardless of which format it is. Obviously, he's not played Test matches against Pakistan as much, but one day and T20, Virat Kohli loves facing Pakistanis, and that's the thing about Virat Kohli, right? It's in his character. When there's pressure, when it's a bigger occasion and a challenge, Virat Kohli rises above the rest. But Mohammad Rizwan, I think he's been this nightmare for Indian bowlers ever since he started playing against them. He seems to come up a clutch against Indian players. So both these players would be hoping that they do well. Especially Mohammad Rizwan, he hasn't played much of practice matches as well for Pakistan. So and they did not get any sort of batting in the second practice match while he didn't play in the first one. So it's going to be interesting to see how he performs. He hasn't been very effective in Australia, even though he hasn't played a lot of cricket there. So that's going to be interesting how he adapts to Australia against Indian paces. But that being said, these two are definitely the batters to watch out for when it comes to tomorrow's match. Abel, are you there?
Yeah, think there has been some connection issue
So
with
let's
him.
Sandeep,
Yeah,
you
I
can
totally agree
continue.
with you. I think just look at Virat Kohli's T20 World Cup stats. I mean, you can go at an average of 76 and a strike rate of 130, but to maintain that across 19 games is just tells you about the quality of the player. And I think
Yeah,
Virat Kohli,
absolutely. I mean, it's a very good point right there because 76, 77 is a match winning innings. And regardless of what you say, and that kind of average, it means he's capable of playing a match winning innings every match. So it's just
Yeah,
scary.
definitely, and also his average against Pakistan, he has scored over 400 runs in six
yeah,
innings, at an average of close to 70, yeah, in 9 innings.
yeah,
So yeah, the strike rate will be a bit of concern for Kohli regarding against Pakistan, but you have to take into account that he was playing in UAE, and some of the matches
Yeah.
that he played were under very difficult batting conditions. So
yeah,
things are going to be completely different tomorrow. Yeah, he'll be up against a challenge. Shaheen Shah Afridi, Harris Roth are going to come out hard against him, but definitely Virat Kohli has the potential to get on top of the bowlers, and definitely he's one of the main players to watch out for tomorrow. And Mohammad Rizwan has been the consistent player for Pakistan over a period of 2 years now, almost 2 years now. He had dominated T20 cricket in 2021. He has
yeah,
dominated T20 cricket in 2022 so far. He had an average of 77, close to 77 last year, and a lot of people thought that it's a one season wonder sort of a thing, because eventually Babar Azam will get better at this sort of stats statistically. But Rizwan has maintained his average and strike rate for another year, and he has been growing immensely when it comes to the T20I format. I
yeah,
think he has worked on his game. Rizwan, and also you have to understand that Rizwan averages over 52 in T20 internationals overall, and that takes into account the fact that when he came into the international circuit and played in T20s, I think back in 2017 or 2016, he played two or three series, but back then he had a terrible run. So to come back from that 2021 2022 with this sort of consistency just shows the character of the player. And I think Mohammad Rizwan has a very strong character. And also Babar Azam, I would like to add Babar Azam to that tally of consistent players as well, because he has delivered for Pakistan, probably not at the level of consistency that he did in 2020 or 2021. His consistency has sort of taken a hit, but that has got to do with because he's also feeling the pressure of the strike rate. So we have seen Babar Azam in recent times trying to sort of take on the bowlers early on, and that sometimes leads to his downfall.
no, yeah, that's a good point over there. But let's pull out the 11 once again to see why we've chosen these players. If you look, we've got Virat Kohli up there alongside Mohammad Rizwan as a captaincy, vice captaincy option. Babar Azam there, the two openers from Pakistan was a necessity because you know that when Pakistan does well, it's there both openers who string in big partnerships. Uh, Jaren, especially when it comes to a contest like this in fantasy segment, Surya Kumar Yadav, not the best of records against Pakistan, but how big an X factor pick can he be in this contest? A differentiator. If India lose 2 wickets early, you've seen that time and time again. People who choose Surya Kumar Yadav in their team or even as a captaincy or vice captaincy option does tend to get a lot of points in the fantasy arena.
Yeah, I mean, the reason for that is simple, right? Suryakumar Yadav is always going to score runs. He is someone who's incredibly consistent. And I think much more than that, what I really like about the fact is if he stays there, he isn't going to be just dealing in singles and doubles. He's going to make sure that there are boundaries coming in, there are sixes coming in. And he plays it all around the park. So even if you try and restrict him to the longer side of the boundary, it's not going to be very easy because he's so good at finding gaps. He isn't probably the most. He's not the biggest hitter in the world. You won't equate him to someone like a Liam Livingston because he doesn't hit those long sixes. But what he does is he picks his balls very smartly. He plays those deliveries very well. And in Australia, in a place where the gaps are that much more bigger, if you have that kind of batting ability to hit 360 degrees, you are going to be very successful. But that being said, Suryakumar Yadav is definitely going to have a challenge of adapting to Australian conditions, playing in these conditions. What we saw of him in the practice matches was incredible signs for Indian fans. And I mean, and I would like to say that Pakistani fans would be wary of the fact that the number one T20 player in the world would be coming for them. But what will help Pakistan is obviously the fact that he hasn't been as
Mm.
as destructive against Pakistan as Indian fans would have hoped. But
Yeah, I think
also,
he does not have a very good record against Pakistan. He averages
yeah, but
14,
then
like
I
he
think
scores
as
42 runs in
You
3
mentioned
games.
Sandeep, all these stats, right? Especially Suryakumar Yadav, he's never played against Pakistan in a pitch where the ball is coming onto the bat as easily as some as it's gonna come on the Melbourne track. I think Melbourne is gonna be suiting his batting style a lot more because he's someone who loves to use the pace. For instance, the kind of shots that he plays, behind the wicket, he loves using the pace. And also against the spinners, he's gonna bring on that big. He's gonna bring in the sweep as well, which is very effective in a place like Australia because the only way players are. The only way the sweep comes into picture is because of the fact that it's gonna not turn. It's gonna not turn as much, which helps the sweep a lot. But that being said,
No, I
Pakistani
think
bowlers
the
will feel
key
that.
to bowling to him will be slower deliveries because we all know that
Yeah,
Surya
yeah.
Kumar Yadav is a
Because he
great
loves
player
using
of
the pace of the ball.
fast bowling. Yeah, he
You
loves
remember
pace.
Yeah.
the way he launched himself in the international cricket was a six of the most absurd way of on Geoffrey Archer, and
Yeah.
everyone was worried about how he's going to tackle the pace, but he doesn't have any issues with pace. I think it's going to be the slower deliveries that might be his downfall. Maybe caught at fine leg or short third man. That probably is what could be the possibility. But having said that, I think this pitch will suit him a lot more. So Pakistan need to be careful of what he can
Mm.
do on these tracks. And
Also,
Suryakumar
I'm
Yadav
scared
is
of also the
another
shot
person
that
who
he
is.
plays against the slower delivery. If he goes for that inside out shot over the extra cover or cover
Yeah.
region, and if the slower delivery is balled and sometimes he might miss it too, and it might just go for
To
an
the short
easy.
Yeah, I
cover.
mean,
Yeah,
but
Yeah.
I mean
There are
that's
possibility.
yeah, that's one issue with him, right? Sometimes he becomes a bit too adventurous in his attempt to be scoring
But I
runs.
think when
And
it comes to fantasy team, he can always be
he is, he
explosive
is, he
to
is.
have.
It's just speaking about
definitely,
fantasy
definitely.
because he always looking to collect boundaries.
And with
And
the
just
current
He's
form that he is in, I think he's the second highest run scorer in T20 Is in 2022. Rizwan is the highest run scorer right now. Second highest is Surya Kumar Yadav. Also, Surya Kumar Yadav played the warm up game, so he has had some sort of
yeah.
exposure to Australian conditions. And I think he's going to be a threat. It will be absolutely foolish of the person if somebody is going into if going into a team without taking Surya Kumar Yadav. I mean,
Yeah,
Grand League and all is okay, but it will be a huge risk not to include
absolutely.
Surya Kumar Yadav in your
I
lineup.
mean, from Pakistan, you can't include any of the middle order bat at this point. Maybe Nawaz and Shadab you can include from the all-round choice. When it comes to batting pick, Iftikhar has not really impressed.
Yeah.
Neither has Shan Masood or even Haider
Yeah,
Ali.
I mean, also able also because of the fact that they don't score the volume of runs that you are looking as a fantasy player.
Yeah,
They might score a match-winning innings, but the volume of runs we haven't seen from any other Pakistani batter except for Mohammad Rizwan and Babar Azam. But that's also one thing which will, is the fact that they are the two batters. If you take them together, what they really do for your team is the fact that over at least the past few months, one of them has definitely batted for Pakistan for a long amount of time. Till the 13th, 14th over, at least one of them survives. It's very
Yeah,
rare to see either of them not do it because it sort of is, I think, a sort of a plan from Pakistan's point of view where if one of the batters gets out, if one of the batters gets out early, then the other batter stops taking a lot of risks and tries to play maximum cricket, which doesn't help the Pakistan team most often than not, but it will definitely help you in terms of your fantasy cricket. So that's one of the reasons why
yeah,
having them in your team is great because ideally you don't take openers together from the same team, but these two are, I think, one of a kind openers. So you and if they
yeah,
perform together
definitely.
well,
And also, I think
they,
when you talk about the players, like you rightly mentioned, that you can't sort of trust any other middle order batsman from the Pakistan team at this current juncture to sort of give you that consistent performances, which not even trust them to give it to the level of what Babar Azam and Rizwan has been delivering for Pakistan, but nobody else comes even close to it. So, and also, I think tomorrow, the only reason that we have gone for Sharab Khan and Mohammad Nawaz is that
yeah.
they will give you 8 overs with the ball. You can expect Pakistan to
I
employ.
think another option which people can also try out is Akshar Patel because Akshar Patel has been in good form, and from
Yeah,
whatever we are getting to know is that he's been timing the ball well in the nets as well. So I
yes,
have
you
a
can
feeling
have
Akshar.
Akshar Patel, but we decided to go with Hardik Pandya because Australian pitches,
Yeah,
you
Hardik Pandya is a short pick which you can have, but then
yeah.
I have a feeling there's not a bad option going with Akshar Patel. in your fantasy 11 instead of Mohammad Nawaz, because Mohammad Nawaz has got
But
his
Mohammad
issues
Nawaz
with.
has a very good record against India in whatever matches that he has
Yes,
played, both with the
yes,
ball and bat.
correct,
But
correct. But
I think
let's
that's
look
a
at the
bit of an
conditions,
aberration
right?
as well because he hasn't
Yeah,
Yeah,
played much against India, and one of the matches
uh,
that he played, he really took the game away.
yeah.
yeah.
In
And let's look at
Australia,
the
But
conditions.
but
Yeah,
also Mohammad Nawaz
yeah,
recently has been coming into bat at number 4 for Pakistan when they're chasing,
correct,
and
correct,
has
correct.
had
I
some
totally
sort of
agree with you
impact.
there. But
yeah,
then
but I mean, for me, the issue with Mohammad Nawaz is, I mean, I slightly will be a bit skeptical about him. I mean, it's not like I disagree with the fact that he belongs in this team. He definitely does because he's that kind of player whom you really can take the game away from the opposition with the bat. But one of the things that will really test him is the fact that he's done well against spinners a lot. Faster bowlers, he
yeah.
doesn't seem to be that
And let's also
effective.
make sure what
Also,
kind
I
of
think
And
spinners has he has
consistency is an
done well.
issue.
also, you're
I'll
going to
agree to
see
that because yeah.
I mean, the challenge for Mohammad Nawaz is on the fact that he's going to have to clear spinners
Yeah.
for 80 meters, 70 meters, and that's going to be a
And not
challenge because
just that, let's have very clear cut idea on what kind of spinners he's done well on. He has done well against slow left arm spinners, and he's done well against leg spinners. The ball which
hmm,
turns into him, he's not
yeah.
particularly done well against off spinners. So tomorrow's biggest challenge is going to be doing well against pacers and also against off spinner if Ashwin plays. So that's going to be a challenge for
I
Yeah,
let's
I mean,
definitely want Ashwin to play, and if Ashwin does play, I think you should have him in your fantasy picks because he'll come into bat at number 8 tomorrow. If Ashwin plays, I expect Mohammad Shami to play as well. I would expect if Ashwin plays, then I think Ashwin and Mohammad Shami will play in place of Harshal Patel and Chahal.
yeah,
So
and
that will be the combination.
Pakistan have a very bad record against right arm off spinners because they've lost
Yeah,
12 wickets or so, I think, ever since like the previous World Cup, and the run rate that they score at is also below 7, which is, I mean, pretty much, I
yeah,
think,
and
Pakistan's
even in the
run
recent
rate.
series as well, even in the recent series
Yeah.
as well, Pakistan really struggled against Michael Bracewell.
Correct, correct.
So
And who
yeah,
isn't that big a turner of the ball? And someone like Ashwin, the moment he starts tossing the ball up, and which he will, because in Melbourne he'll be more sure about his tossing the ball up. He isn't going to be as scared. I mean, at least I
and
hope that's
also
the
with
case.
Ashwin, you have a lot of variations. So if the
Correct, correct. And you
orthodox
never
deliveries
know
are
when
not
he
working, you
becomes a
can at least
levy
expect
or
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
he'll at least go through his overs without considering too many runs.
Correct, correct. And the amount of time, right? If you're struggling against Ashwin, what he does incredibly well is he'll finish his overs so quickly. You
Very
won't
quickly.
even
Yeah,
realize by the time you found your feet, Ashwin's overs are done. So it's very difficult to score against him. And what he will definitely help you in your fantasy team is, as a bowler, he's someone who's going to not get a lot of negative points because of the fact that he keeps his runs. He doesn't give a lot of boundaries away. He'll make sure that at least, if nothing, if he doesn't pick wickets, he'll make sure that you don't lose points on him. He isn't going to give a lot of points away. And
Hmm.
with Ashwin against left arm, the kind of struggles that Pakistan has had. Even I think Mohammad Rizwan has struggled against off
Off
spinners, so
spin, yeah.
he could be the kind of trump card
Ashwin is
that
not
Rohit
a
Sharma
not
goes
a
with.
not a bad option to keep as well.
Yeah,
If you want to go, I think he comes in the bowling category, not really in the all rounder category. So if you want to sacrifice on all rounder, go with an extra bowler. That's where you can maybe sacrifice on a Nawaz yet again and go with Ashwin. Not a bad option, not a bad ploy. He might not give you a lot of wickets, but so that's where you have to be very smart, right? You can't
yeah.
go with
also I think you
Ashwin.
can experiment with Rohit Sharma in place of KL Rahul, but we haven't done so because KL Rahul has been in great form leading up to this
And
tournament.
Rohit
But
Sharma's record against Pakistan is pretty bad.
Pakistan,
He's
yeah.
just scored 56
yeah,
runs in T20 World Cups.
I mean,
Uh, uh,
so is KL Rahul. I mean, KL Rahul has
KL
scored
Rahul has an
30.
average of 10, but then
Yeah,
I
yeah, he
think
has scored
because it's
31 runs in
Australia
three
and the
innings.
kind of form that he's showing, and his strike rate is even more poor. But
Yeah,
that's
but
because I
he
think
has looked in good touch leading up to this
yeah,
tournament. So
and I think on
yeah,
that front he seems a better option. But that being said, it's going to be interesting to see how Rohit Sharma, KL Rahul, and if Virat Kohli comes into bat, how they face Shaheen Shah Afridi because left
yeah,
arm seam has been one big issue for India, and if Shaheen Shah Afridi is on point
I've
tomorrow,
yeah,
not had
it's going to
Shaheen
be a
Shah
definitely
big
in
we
test.
this
haven't.
team.
Yeah, we haven't included Shaheen Shah Afridi, especially because he's coming after an injury. So we thought Harris Roth would be a better option because he'll bowl in the death as well.
And I
That
mean,
is
you might
when
also be probably if tomorrow by the toss we come, if there's a news that Mohammad Shami is not playing, Shaheen Shafidi could be a very good fit instead of
yeah,
Mohammad Shami as well.
Hmm.
And if you're
definitely.
really
But
going because it's
I think
yeah,
another option which people can go in with is also Arshdeep Singh instead of Mohammad Shami,
yeah,
because
yeah.
Arshdeep
I was
Singh
very
has been
adamant
taken
on
off.
having Arshdeep Singh because that would have been a safe pick. But then again, Mohammad Shami in the last game, it's not just the last game, not just the last warm up game, but what Rohit Sharma said at the press conference after the last game, or the post match presentation. He told
Yeah.
that he was saving Mohammad Shami, so just gave him 1 over. So that like that might be some sort of indication to show that he might start in the playing 11, especially with what form we have seen. Harshal Patel has not been in the best of forms after his return to the side, and he has looked a
Yeah.
bit predictable. So yeah, I mean,
But I
Mohammad
mean,
Shami
it is
will be a good
also.
option.
I mean, one thing is going to be interesting is the fact that you never know with Harshal Patel, because today, for instance, Team South, he just balled cutters after cutter, and he did incredibly well. So you never
No,
know with
but then
Ashwin.
you have to
But
understand
he
that
is a bit. He is
yeah,
risky,
number one, the
definitely.
pitch was different. Number two, there was a huge scoreboard pressure. When
I
the
mean,
Yeah.
not
scoreboard
just
pressure comes
that.
in,
With Melbourne rain around with a lot of sea movement, what Shami can
Hmm.
extract, I think
Hmm.
he's a safe wicket taking option if he plays. Or else, then you can consider going with someone like a Harshal Patel because he's also a wicket taking option. But an interesting pick which you people all can try, as we mentioned, was Arshdeep. Another interesting pick can possibly be Mohammad Wasim Jr. Because Mohammad Wasim
Yeah.
Jr. instead of Harris Roth is also an option which you people can try because he also is a handy batter down the order. You saw that in the warm-up game, he was able to score just 20, 30 runs. If he can contribute with 20 with the bat and pick up a couple of wickets, he really helps you edge past a lot of your competitors in the fantasy arena. So that's why you'll have to be a little more proactive in choosing your bowler who can also contribute a little bit with the bat. So Harshal Patel can always add a little bit more value compared to a lot of other Indian bowlers because if he is given an opportunity to contribute with the bat, I think he is a better option as well. So keep that in mind when you pick your 11. And also Ashwin, Ashwin is another handy batter who can
and the
contribute with the
most
ball.
important thing is just check your team, whatever your team you have made or selected. Please review that team just after the toss once the lineups are announced, because there may be a lot of surprises, some surprises at least. There might be some players who we thought would make it to the playing 11 did not actually make it to the playing 11. So there can be last minute changes and any sort of incidents, freak injuries. So you need to check your team and make the necessary changes, because otherwise you would go into the contest with one or two players not being there in your team. So
Yeah.
you'll
Mm.
play with 9 or 10 players, so that will be a
Mm.
disadvantage for you. So you have to check your teams, update your teams right after the toss once the lineups are announced.
So SC90 has asked, will I think he thinks Haris Rauf will be a bigger threat than Shaheen Shafridi. I think Haris Rauf will be a wicket-taking option compared to Shaheen Shafridi. I think Indian batters will try to play Shaheen Shafridi out,
Yeah.
considering his previous
Yeah.
record against India in the last World Cup. That'll be behind their mind. But let me be very honest as well. We've seen that with Mohammad Amir in 2017, but when he came in 2019 in the World Cup, Indian batters went after him. So I think only that will be the initial 1 over. If Shaheen Shafridi doesn't get
I think
the
KL Rahul
momentum.
is going to take the
I
attack
mean,
on
I'll
him
be honest.
from
I
the
think
first over
if
itself.
the ball isn't moving and if Shahid Shafidi is not able to get any movement out of the pitch, then Indian batsmen will go after him.
I
Because
mean,
if there's one
definitely
thing that
will.
we know,
But let me tell you something, right? Whatever I've seen of Shaheen Shafri is already using his defensive bowling skills pretty well, especially going for
yeah,
the Yorkers. So Indian batsman will have to be wary of the Yorker which he lands. If it swings, if it doesn't swing, I'm pretty sure that Indian batsmen are good enough to convert it into a half volley or stand a little bit, convert into a full toss as well. So
yeah.
so this is where Indian batters will be proactive in terms of countering Shaheen Shafri. I don't really think Harris Rauf will be bigger of a threat because he does not get any movement of the wicket, and Indian batters love the pace coming onto the ball more than anything else. Indian
I
batsmen
mean,
will rather prefer facing Harris Roth, but that's where there is also a wicket taking option there. So that's why we have included Harris Roth in their team.
Yeah.
Let's look at the venue stats now. What is the possible scores which are
And
put up by
just
teams?
before we go to the venue stats, I think you can also do like go with Iftikhar Ahmed if you want in place of Mohammad Nawaz. I think he may be a like to like replacement, because Pakistan have been recently trying to give him more opportunities with the ball, and of course he is a very sort of a stable batsman. He is more of an anchor. The problem with the Pakistani middle order is that most of them love to play the anchor's knock. Nobody actually like wants to take hit the ball out of the park at a consistent basis.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so let's look into the Melbourne Cricket Ground stats now. So it's totally different from the ground which we brought yesterday, which was Sydney. Here, teams, there have been 15 matches of T20 internationals played here. 15 matches have been won batting first. No, 5 matches have been won batting first. 9 matches have been won batting second. So, of course, there's a tendency of batting second in this ground because, 60% of the matches have been won batting second and only 5% of the matches have been won batting first. So, teams winning the toss, as already Kapil has suggested in the chat, will look to ball first. So, that is one thing which teams will be having an eye upon, and that's where you'll have to pick your team correctly in the fantasy as well. If you're going with a front
And this is
loaded
why
ball.
the cricket in Australia has been interesting. The World Cup in Australia has been interesting because the toss is irrespective. Like irrespective of the toss, the result does not depend on the toss. Something which was becoming so prevalent in UAE. So I think
Yeah.
Yeah,
the UAE again. I mean, if you want to have high stake tournaments in UAE, you will have to take notice of the fact that it does not become so skewed for the team batting second.
actually, I'm very sick of cricket in UAE at this point because a lot of tournaments have been played there, and it's getting very predictable. That's the issue. Win the
Yeah.
toss, win the match was getting very predictable, except for Sharjah. But other than everywhere, that was one of the reasons why it was there was an undue advantage. I know the skill
Mhm.
sets come into the picture, but more than that, especially
No, skill
batting
sets
first
come
was
into the picture if there is a lot of difference between the teams. If Hong Kong is playing against India, definitely the skill
Yeah.
sets will come into play. But when India is playing against Pakistan or Australia is playing against New Zealand, there are no difference. There is no difference. The team chasing will always have the advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. You saw it in the last World Cup as well, where Australia went on to win matches by chasing in the semi-final and the final. So that's where UAE pitches was playing an undue advantage when it came to winning the toss and winning the match. So here, batting first can be an option in case if a team feels that there can be a scoreboard pressure which can be asserted upon a team in a big match like India Pakistan. That's where a team can look to bat first. But I think Pakistan, considering their past record as well, they like to go and ball first, isn't it?
I think both the teams will look to chase because even if you see the
Yeah.
stats out of the 14 completed games, I think nine teams have won batting second, chasing. So basically, there is a certain advantage chasing because we have seen the first inning score to be 141. But then again, under lights, things have been pretty tricky in Australia recently. So we have seen
Yeah.
a lot of
That's one
pitches
thing.
act
Yeah.
differently. Yeah.
That's been
Yeah.
a trend
So
this year's World Cup, I think. I mean, that's been the oddity of this
yeah,
year's World Cup because teams chasing haven't found it as easy as in some of the previous seasons of
especially
In
under the
Australia.
lights.
Yeah, under the
Actually,
lights, correct.
actually, losing a toss tomorrow won't be a bad option.
Exactly,
If
exactly.
putting into bat, especially in a
But
big
no,
game like
I
this.
think with rain being a factor, you should definitely look to chase
Yeah, that
because
is one factor.
yeah,
Hmm.
because tomorrow
But
I
you know
think
what?
rain will play a factor at least up to some extent. So we hope that we get a game, we get a
But
full
if you're in
game.
the
But
Indian camp tomorrow, I would say if you want to look at any score in excess of 180, you will believe that you can win the match because 180 or in Melbourne with the big boundaries around, you would
I
really
think
back your team
anything
to win.
above 160, 165 would be a winning total
Same
batting total.
case in terms of Pakistan as well. If you're in the Pakistan
Yeah.
camp, you'll be aiming at something around 170, 175 because you've got the ball in, right? If you are going to come on to ball second and pick up a couple of wickets up front with the ball, get in Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul up early, India are going to be under pressure, 20 for 2. That's not going to be a good sign,
No,
even
I think
chasing
any team
160.
that is batting first, if they can put a total of over 160, I think they are pretty much at least. I estimate the par on this track to be somewhere close to 145, 150. So anything above that is a very good score, especially with the overcast conditions and the lights coming in later on.
It all depends on whether the ball is moving off the pitch or not, which we'll have a better idea
Yeah.
from the
It,
pitch
it, it
report
should it
tomorrow.
should. I mean, it should definitely move.
But whatever we're getting right now, the weather conditions are that it's going to remain cloudy. So watch the pitch report tomorrow when you're picking your team as well. That's where you might want to include someone like a Shaheen Afridi into the fantasy 11, which we have already suggested. If Mohammad Shami is not playing, then you can have him there. Or you can have Mohammad Wasim Jr. instead of a Haris Rauf because he's a backloaded kind of a bowler who can pick you up wickets in the death overs but not up front. Then if you want to have someone like Akshar Patel instead of a Mohammad Nawaz because Akshar Patel also has got the ability to bowl in the power play, pick up a wicket here or there, and also with his ability with the bat, he can be used as a matchup trigger where he can be used against Mohammad Nawaz to be countering to use against Mohammad Nawaz to counter Mohammad Nawaz. He can come up the order with his batting exploits because whatever we have been hearing, he's been batting excellently in the nets. So here these pick up these minute things, especially when you're picking up a fantasy 11, because tomorrow is a big contest. You're going to be up against almost everybody in the fantasy sector. So you'll have to really be on your A game in making these choices, and also have a left field choice to pull up a trump card. It could be an FC card, it could be someone like Dinesh Karthik. Dinesh Karthik can be an X factor left field choice tomorrow. If he comes and contributes 30, 40 runs with the bat towards the back end, you never know. He can be the differentiator in your team. So keep this in mind.
Arshdeep Singh can be a big left field choice for tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah, possibly.
Hmm.
He's
and
another
and it will
option.
be it will be such a like good and sweet. If you are a Indian fan, it will be such a sweet sort of a story after that drop catch, if you can
Yeah,
Oh,
somehow
that will be
come back.
great.
And yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
same
that'll be
as
thing
very
is for
good.
Mohammad
there
Shami.
is,
I mean, the way he got battered in the last ICC World T20 game, I think that really sort of hindered his career after the T20 World Cup, because
yeah, I mean, I
he
think
had
after
a
that,
great
he never,
tournament after that game. He picked up
yeah,
6 wickets in 4 games. He had a great tournament after the first game, but he was taken out of the squad. Uh, IPL also, I mean, Punjab Kings released him, and then he
hmm,
obviously he went to Gujarat Titans. They won the IPL. He finally somehow made it to the Indian team right before the World Cup. Took 3 wickets in 1 over in the warm up game. So the stage is set.
I
yeah.
really want Mohammad Shami to play tomorrow. I mean, he's a bowler who's been bowling very well in the nets. You saw him in the warm up game. He's looking in very good rhythm. And if there is
Another very
anything in the
interesting
pitch,
stat. Can I give you another very interesting stat?
yeah,
Mohammad
yeah,
Shami has never played any international game under Rohit Sharma. T20I
okay.
international game. T20I international game.
T20 International.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So it's going to make his debut under Rohit Sharma tomorrow, if at all. But parting all those things, I think Mohammad Shami will extract something off the pitch because he's the only bowler I think in both the units who will land the ball consistently on the seam.
Yeah.
If there is anything on the deck, he's going to be the best bowler to
And
extract that.
Australian wickets generally are known to give the new ball some bit of movement off the pitch. Once the ball gets old, it will be difficult, but early on, the new ball might move slightly, and that's enough for batsmen to get a few edges here and there.
That's why you kind of appreciate Mohammad Shami's inclusion when it came to
Yeah.
absence of Bumrah, because Mohammad Shami is one bowler who can pick up wickets up front. People might
Hmm.
question his death bowling expert, but I think it's an area where he can still improve, and he's got the ability to land a Yorker. You saw it in the warm up game. We're talking about his bouncers as well. Pakistani batters do struggle against
Yeah.
bouncers, and that's when Mohammad Shami has got a very good bouncer. He's got a very direct bouncer,
I
which
think
will come
tomorrow, and
straight.
that's one of the reasons why someone like a Hardik Pandya has a very good record against Pakistan, because that's one of his favorite deliveries to ball. He's got a heavy ball. So I think tomorrow, Pakistani batters will be wary of both Mohammad Shami and Hardik Pandya dropping, bowling one shot to them. And I think India should at least ideally look to target Pakistani batters in that fashion,
Yeah,
especially
and
when the leg side is towards the bigger part of the boundary.
And when it comes to Indian batting, the best back foot players, I think the top four best back foot players you've got in your team, you've got a KL Rahul, Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, and Suryakumar Yadav who are very confident back foot. That's why Pakistani bowlers wouldn't be going short against Indian batters. So that's where you have to look into the fantasy matchups as well, right? Who
Yeah.
are better back foot players in Australian conditions? Why you should be having them in your team? So this is our fantasy 11 once again. We have picked
I
this
think
11.
another very strange thing is we haven't had a lot of questions in tonight's live, especially leading up to the India Pakistan game. I think it's Dhanteras and people are already in celebration mode.
I think we've
You
had a lot
might
of questions in the previous live which we came, so
yeah,
people thought we won't be doing another live. So just reminding everybody once again, we do live 2 times a day. Once is after the game, and one is before the next day's game. That is at least 12 hours before the next day's game. We come with a fantasy prediction. We want to do it as close to possible as the next day's game because a last minute injury can take place. So we want to tinker with our 11, which we give it to you, so you can make your best ideal 11 and win prizes on Boom 11. And this is your opportunity. When you're playing in Boom 11, you know that you can play for absolute free of cost and win a lot of prizes, because tomorrow's game, if you win, you get a staycation. So you don't want to miss out that opportunity. So get your hands on the Boom 11 app, and you can also win so many prizes by playing our predictor feature. This is a new feature which we've introduced. You can predict about India Pakistan match and many other matches, and you can stand a chance to win so many prizes there. So this is your opportunity. Download the app if you haven't already. Click on the link in the bio. You'll go straight into the app and have a very good T20 World Cup alongside Boom 11. Once again, I wish everybody a happy Sunday. Enjoy the match and have a safe Diwali as well, because Diwali
Best
is
of luck for your
start.
exam as well, Abel.
Thank
See
you
ya.
for that. I need that. I think that is the biggest test for me. I think I am under more pressure than the Indian players because because I don't
I think we
know.
can come in with crackers tomorrow to celebrate India's victory. tomorrow
I'm
evening at
more
least.
scared of the question paper set by the university than Shaheen's Yorkers, which will become an Indian bowler. So
Yeah, I
Indian
mean, going to
batters.
university, you might have some Yorkers, slow balls, and bouncers to deal with in the paper.
Yeah, so I hope I don't get distracted while writing the exam because it's highly likely, especially when you have a big game happening in the same time and you have also your exam, university exam starting at the same time. Highly likely that I get distracted, but then I have also such a subject tomorrow that I should be very focused. It's law of evidence, so I should be very
Yeah,
focused
I
on that
mean,
exam. But I'm just picking up the 11 once again. So I'm just suggesting you this is not our suggested captaincy white captaincy option. You don't should it is not a compulsion that you should go with this. It's just a mere suggestion. If you want, you can go with these options as your captaincy vice captaincy option, or else you can have Babar and Rizwan as well. You can keep Rohit Sharma as your captain. But whatever your gut feel is something which you should go behind.
yeah, and
And
I
I think
think it's mostly going to be, people from Pakistan are going to love to have Babar and Rizwan as their vice captain and captain, and
yeah.
Indians
But
are
then,
probably going to choose
but then
someone with Babar.
I have a gut feeling that both of them are not going to work tomorrow. Probably
I mean,
Rizwan
Yeah.
may.
as an Indian cricket fan, that's the first thing that I want in tomorrow's
No,
match to be the
I
back of Babar and Rizwan.
yeah.
But it's not
But
going to be
but
easy.
then won't it be a one-sided game if Babar and Rizwan does not
I'll be
work for
honest, when my favorite team is playing, I love to see a one-sided match. I want to see the most boring match, but my team should win. That's what I love when CSK plays. That's what I
But
love
you
when
know
India
what?
plays.
As
Okay,
a cricket
let's get one
neutral,
thing clear. Do we have to come in for a live tomorrow if things don't go our way?
we have to. So that's what professionalism is
But
all about.
we must. I think we have
See,
come to
professionalism.
come
We have come to live after India Pakistan win. We have come to live after India
Yeah.
Pakistan lose.
It
So
was
we
after
very
have
India got
seen
painful.
knocked out. I remember after
we have
India got
seen
knocked
it.
out.
We have seen the worst of it. We have
Yeah.
seen the best of Virat Kohli century. The biggest drought ended right here.
Yeah.
So we have seen some highs and lows.
We
So
have seen the game where India lost to Sri Lanka, and there were two
Yeah.
pessimist people going about like India were not even knocked out by then, like back then, but they
We
were
were
so
right, bro.
adamant on
We
knocking
were the
India out of
realists.
the
I think two
Asian
no,
Cup.
realists.
no. I think I'll give Sandeepani a point there because if that match of Afghanistan would have gone Afghanistan's favor, then it would have been a different tournament altogether. Now,
Yeah,
looking back in hindsight, but let's forget all that. It's all
I
done,
gave you
dusted.
a situation where the probability of India qualifying was 11.25%, one out of eight, and
You know
one out
what's
of four
funny?
happened. Just
Now
one
you
game did
now
not go
no,
our way.
now you sound like Daniel Alexander because he's one person on Twitter who keeps bringing 36 all out time and time again. I don't know what's really wrong with that person. I hope he listens to this live. I'll send this. I'll tag him on this. But Daniel Alexander is a psychopath. Let me be very honest. I've not seen a
Whoa.
psychopath than
Okay, so
this.
did you just call me a psychopath?
Not you, but
So you
then
just compared
because,
me to a psychopath.
because you were bringing the past. You were bringing the past. But then let me say
Okay,
why
okay.
Daniel Alexander is a psychopath, right? Daniel Alexander is one person on Twitter who likes to, I know he wants to really go after Indians, but in a very malified manner. He's not doing banters, right? He brings this 36 all out thing. He says that India got 36 all out, and I think. I think Yasir Shah has a century in Adelaide, and India's score is
I
just
mean, we can invite
36.
him for a live.
Oh,
I
it's
mean,
gonna
I would
it's
love
gonna,
to.
we're
I
gonna
mean, I would
have
love to. I would love
Abel
to, but
versus Daniel Alexander.
I mean, it's not me versus Dan Alexander. I think we'll be stooping too low to bring Dan Alexander on live. To be very honest,
Whoa.
he's a
I
very
mean,
poor
I have
orator.
a. This is nice.
No, but if somebody is bringing up Yasir Shah's century ahead of India's 36 all out, I think he needs to be educated first. So
Yeah,
I mean, might as well
I
bring him to
think
our
it
live.
kind of reminds me of what Ravi Shastri told after 36 All Out, where he said, "Wear 36 like a badge of honor," because now you remember 36 because that's what
I mean, I'll
inspired
be
two
very
one,
honest.
right?
I would take the 36 all out every day after seeing what
Yeah,
happened after
yeah.
36 all
After
out.
that,
Definitely,
Because I
see,
think
I'll
that
tell you
36 all
definitely.
out kind of
for
spurred
I'll
the
tell you
Indian team
something,
to come
okay?
back.
In your life also, after every Adelaide there'll be a GABA.
Oh,
After
nice.
every Adelaide there's a GABA in your life, so
But then
be
there will
take it in
also
that
be
way.
a Melbourne and Sydney.
Yeah, you will
You have
have to
to
go
be
through it.
stay at it. Yeah, you'll
You
have to
have to
go
go
through
through.
the
You'll
entire
have your
thing.
highs, you'll have your tough times, but then see, you have to stay at it. That's where you'll get your GABA. So after every Adelaide, stay at it. You will get your GABA. Same thing, people. I know there's a lot of aberration made out of because Daniel Alexander tweeted today saying that India will be up against one of the teams who knocked India out of the tournament. He's a Sri Lankan, okay, and he supports
Yeah,
Pakistan
yeah.
a lot. And he goes on to say that Indian team is possibly the poorest team in T20 cricket and all that. I don't know it's just an agenda which he keeps running, but he's got very
Does he have
toxic.
any followers? or
Oh
it's just you
yes,
following him?
Why
I
Ali?
know
Why
it,
Ali?
he has got followers from Pakistan and Sri Lanka, so who
Oh
likes to
yeah.
listen to him. But when Namibia defeated Sri Lanka, people did have a go at him as well. So that's where Daniel
I
Alexander
think
should
you
be
were
known.
one of them.
No, 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 I didn't. I not. I came
I'm
myself
sure
very
Abel, I
silly.
know Abel has a what do you say, army of fake accounts. You never know
Yeah,
which one
yeah.
gets employed when.
No, I don't
Abel,
on Twitter.
Abel is
At
a
least on
certified troll,
Twitter,
guys.
no,
Abel is a
at least on
certified troll.
Twitter, I just have one account, so I have. I don't want to go comment and it's just waste of time. And
We'll,
he's
we'll,
blocked
we'll,
comments if I'm not wrong.
we'll have to be more active on Twitter. If you don't get views on our fantasy picks, we can have this segment on Twitter as well.
I mean, not bad, but I still prefer it on YouTube. So there's a graphical representation of what we're doing. So people at least understand. And a lot of people have been doing spaces.
A lot of
We
hard
started
work
it.
goes through in us making those graphs and giving out those stats.
So
So
guys,
please tune in.
like the video. So come to the video, like the video. This is helping you people out. It is mainly an educational kind of a video to help you people to how to pick your fantasy 11. So this is a fantasy 11 once again on the screen. So you can pick this 11 if you want, but also make some changes. I always say that go with your gut feel, go with your instincts because that's what will prevail over whatever is going to happen in the game. So go with your gut feel. That's always going to be a useful thing. We did discuss about Daniel Alexander as well. We'll have a podcast one on one with him where we like to know about his thoughts on the Asia Cup or
We
his
would like to educate him on India's stats and things. I can come up with some stats and we can sit for a
yeah.
amicable conversation
Yeah,
sometime.
yeah, we can talk because every time he brings, whenever Babar Azam or someone scores 30, he's like giving tribute to India. Uh, so I love the way people are giving tribute to India. I hope they give tribute to India by winning one match in Australia as well. So this is what I
Yeah,
would say.
also a very important thing for tomorrow is no matter which team wins, no matter which team loses, please don't go on hating the players on social media.
Yeah,
That is
yeah,
not going to help you.
absolutely.
See, I would
That
say
is
you can
not
hate
going to
on
help.
Daniel Alexander, but don't hate on the.
I
Don't
think
hate on
Abel,
anyone. I
Daniel
mean,
Alexander is to you what Gunatilaka is to Sandipani. I think we found your
no, I actually don't
Gunatilaka
hate
now.
Gunatilaka. I was just going through his stats tonight, but 45 innings and average of 16. I mean, the entire
I
Sri
think
Lankan board should hate
Sandipani is
him
just
by
You know
now.
what does
joking.
Sandeepani do when he's bored? When a lot of people when they're bored, they go out, they drink coffee. But Sandeepani when he's bored, he wants to average. He looks at Gunathilaka's stat, he laughs at it. 16 average, 20 average strike rate of just 120, and he's very happy with it. So
Average
that's
of
what he does.
16. I think
Yeah,
average of
I think Sandipani
16.45
is
to be
always
specific.
Sandipani, I'm sure, has a notebook somewhere in his house where it's just notes on Gunatilaka. What no, the next zinger to say in the
but
next
you know
life or something like
what?
that.
I have a feeling tomorrow Gunathilaka is going to set the stage on fire against Ireland. He's going to score a
I
50,
hope so.
70.
I hope so because if a cricket board, if a national cricket board has trusted you to play 45 innings at an average of 16.46 and a strike rate of 120, you might as well give something back to the country. And
So,
I
guys,
definitely
if you're
feel
picking
with
a fantasy
Isn't
Nisanka
pick for
missing.
Gunatilaka
Ireland
out of
versus
the
Sri
World
Lanka
Cup?
tomorrow,
Isn't
Yeah,
Gunatilaka out of the World Cup?
no, 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 he's not out.
Nisanka
Yeah,
is probably out of the World Cup with an
he is. I
injury.
think he's out of the World Cup.
Gunathilaka?
Gunatilaka.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, yeah.
I don't think anything. We have not received anything
I
on that.
also don't think. We'll have
Either
to
way,
check.
I'm just waiting for Gunathilaka to be picked by KKR so that Sandeepani can absolutely adore him from there on. Talk
Oh
good
yeah,
things
yeah.
about him.
Gunatilaka is out of the World Cup. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was getting very worried why he's dropped from the team. I thought
Oh,
Asalanka got a chance and he was dropped, but then he was injured.
yeah.
So yeah,
So guys, you can't have Gunathilaka in your 11, or else I would have had Gunathilaka as my captain against Ireland.
too
I
much
thought,
for Abel saying Gunatilaka will have this World Cup is going to change Gunatilaka's life.
see, it's
You
because of
got him
injury.
injured,
Right?
bro.
It's okay. It's just bad luck for Gunathilaka. I think Sandeepani is the happiest person on the world right now. His
No,
predictions
you're
are
gonna
Yeah,
miss
come.
out a segment. You're gonna
yeah,
miss
yeah.
out.
I think I should tag Gunathilaka and say he is the reason why you're out of the World Cup. The curse.
No, no, no. No, this is the whole point of the thing, right? This is what I've been saying that don't hate on any player after tomorrow's game. We are going to celebrate Diwali no matter what the result is. So might as well shower some love towards your players, even if
Yeah.
we come short tomorrow. No worries, we'll
See,
definitely
the
Yeah,
go
and
World
I
on
Cup is
think
moving
not
forward.
over. The World Cup is not over yet.
Yeah,
So tomorrow
definitely.
also
is one
it
match.
is at the end of the day a game, a sport, and it's
Yeah,
not in the
and
control
also
of the
it's just
players.
a
I mean,
game, and Australia lost. The host nation lost to New Zealand by
yes,
89
yes,
runs today.
absolutely. So, and they lost to their bitter rivals. So, it
Yeah.
was. I'm sure it's not been an easy day for Australians and their fans.
Yeah, I
But
mean, I'm not
it's
just
just
saying
about
this from an Indian standpoint. I'm saying this from the Pakistani standpoint as well. If they lose,
Yeah.
they like,
Guys,
please
my
don't go on
request to you
hating
is
their
that
players.
please keep your TV
yeah.
safe at home, right? Don't show anger on TVs.
Yeah,
That's not
both
only
India and Pakistan. I mean,
Yeah, I
you
think
if
at
you
least
want
if
to
you
light
if
some
you
firecrackers, you can
if
go out and
nothing,
light some
spare your
firecrackers, but
TV.
don't set your TV. Don't do all this explosions with your TV sets.
Yeah, I think if
guys.
you
Let's
can't
firecrack.
go easy on your players, at least spare your TV so they can watch the next match.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
else buy a spare TV or something, old TV of 1980s. Throw how much ever you want. So, guys, both from India and Pakistan, spare your
Yeah.
TVs. Don't attack on social media. Don't be a coward. If you really wanna
That is not
show
going to
your
give you
real
anything.
identity,
Like
come out.
at the end
At
of
the
the
end
day,
of the day,
that's
you
not even
have
going to give
to
you satisfaction.
you must respect the game of cricket, and cricket is the sport where anything can happen. If I mean, if the two-time world champions can be knocked out by Namibia, then I think that there's more probability that Pakistan might beat India or India might beat
And
Pakistan.
if New
It's
Zealand has
not.
won Australia after 11 years, Pakistan
Yeah,
can win Australia for the first time as well. So
correct.
let's be
Yeah,
very honest. It's a sport. Sports is all about new things, history.
And
Your
you saw what
England.
happened. Like you once India lost that game to Pakistan in the Asia Cup, a lot of people went there and abused Arshdeep Singh, but he came back, he won you games even after that incident. So
yeah,
just trust your players. They are definitely going to give you results. A country with over 1 billion people, or even for Pakistan, a country with close to half a billion population, they are still the top 11 players of your country going out there
correct.
playing the World Cup, playing at the biggest stage of cricket, at least in the T20s tomorrow. So it's a huge clash, a lot of pressure. The teams will face a lot of pressure, the players will have a lot of pressure. So the mistakes will happen. You have to forgive, you have to sort of take it through your stride, and the World Cup is
Okay,
not over.
guys, I'm just gonna give you an exciting news that Sandeepani is gonna dance in the live if we hit 3,000
Yeah.
subscribers.
How
As
many?
soon as 3,000 subscribers through the course of this World Cup,
हाँ, आज
Sandeepani is
बोल दे,
gonna.
आज वैसे भी कोई नहीं सुन रहा है.
तो जो सुनेगा उन लोगों के लिए तो है. तो
I
मैं
think
बोल रहा हूँ
you never know, guys. This is just a
आप लोग
live.
जल्दी का
24
जल्दी
hours later,
सब्सक्राइब कीजिए.
24 hours later.
1 million यार, क्या यार,
I think
3,000
वन
24
viewers.
hours
मिलियन कुछ
later, you
नहीं है.
might have, the comment section full of hashtag done Sandivani.
हाँ, तो आज ही का आज रात 3,000 सब्सक्राइबर पहुँचने दो हमको. तो टुमारो संदीपानी विल डांस. So if you can help us reach 3,000 tonight, it's just 700 more if I'm not wrong. So just help us hit it tonight itself so that Sandeepani
At
can
least
dance.
do it on a game where the stakes are not so high. I mean, India versus Pakistan, people are going to come in, people are going to subscribe. At least keep
हाँ
the
तो
bar high. At least
हाँ
5,000. हाँ,
तो
बोल 5,000 होगा
So
तो
it'll be
करेगा.
incredibly bad for Sandivani if India loses tomorrow and he's asked to dance.
No. I'm not. See, it's something that Abel Abel is promoting. Abel is
see,
advertising.
Sandeepan is a cricket neutral. It doesn't matter if India wins, Pakistan wins. He's happy. If Pakistan wins, Sandeepan is the happiest
Cricket
person
stupid,
on
I
this world.
suppose, huh?
I think there's no person happier than Sandeepan if Pakistan wins.
I think
So
we have gone so much out of topic. We can just end the live over here on
Yeah,
this
I think
note
so.
itself.
This is it for
Yeah.
us from today.
because
50.
Sandeepan has already ordered ghost biryani for enjoying either victory. So he's already ready. He's taken Swiggy menu.
This is
He's
a
on
personal
scheduler.
attack. What have I done, man? First you call me a psychopath, then you go after me calling me an anti-national.
I'm not calling you anti-national. I said as a cricket neutral,
Tomorrow,
Sandeepani is
I think
very
tomorrow
we're
we,
happy.
we
really
don't
going
want this.
away
Whatever
from the
Abel is
topic of
doing,
the
we don't
video.
want this from you tomorrow against any people, any player.
So this is what you don't want, right? So be like
Yeah.
Sandeepani, celebrate Pakistan's win if Pakistan wins, celebrate India's win if India wins, eat ghost biryani, and don't be a psychopath like Daniel Alexander. So that's the moral of
Yeah.
today's life. Good night.
And I think honestly, India will win tomorrow. It will be a close contest, but India will take the game.
Yeah, so that's what Sandeepani says. Even if India doesn't take the game, Sandeepani will still be happy. So that's what. So be like Sandeepani is the moral of the story. So once again, this is yesterday's team. I'm just gonna put today's team. So this is a team. Pick it right now. Get onto the Boom 11 app because it's absolutely free of cost to play. And you don't want to lose any finances during this, right? It's Diwali time. Save your finances. Win so much of gift for absolute free of cost. That's where Boom 11 comes into picture. Boom 11 is your partner for this T20 World Cup. Have a good night.
Good night, guys.